And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. We have returned with our next matchup for the night with our first ZvP of the evening. It's going to be a matchup between Cyan and Dark. The gangster, the Yakuza himself, up against the madman, up against the best Zerg player in South Korea. Dark looking damn good earlier in the ZvZ against Lambo. And this is going to be a rough one for Cyan, a rough group in general. We are big fans of Cyan on this channel. We've been casting him a lot in World Team League. We've been cheering for him as he is on the Starving Camels. He is on SSLT, and the Starving Camels, they were really just almost a Cinderella story team in this season of WTL. But now he's up against some of the best, and looking at the group, Cyan is kind of the odd one out when you compare him to Cure and DRG and Lambo and Dark and Ryung. Like, it's going to be tough here for Cyan. It's going to be tough, and I do wish him the best. I do hope he comes in prepared, and I hope he's able to put on a good show here for everyone and fight back against the Titans that he's up against. I mean, mate, he's a camel. And if we've learned anything from the most recent season of WTL, is that a starving camel is a terrifying thing. He'll eat anything. He'll eat anyone. And here we go. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Grass Farm, we have the Chinese Protoss player representing SSLT, the Starving Camels. It is Cyan. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player representing CranKy Gaming. It is Dark. Here we go. Again, Dark is one of the favorite players in this group. When I look at the players overall, I do think that Dark and Cure are probably sure things, but I mean, you know, it's difficult to have these conceptions about how the group is going to play out, because last night we wrapped up Group A, and Maru, despite being the best Terran in the world, barely made it out of his own group. So upsets can happen, and yeah, we could see a pretty surprising result here. We could see some other players rise to the challenge and really take it to these other favorite players. As Dark is going for a hatch gas pool opener, trying to be a little bit cheeky here, trying to expand at his natural location, but he's going to be denied. So a nice little win here for Cyan, at least initially, making Dark a little bit more uncomfortable. And here we go across the map. Likewise, we do see Cyan going for a gate expand into his cyber core, so very economic stuff. When it comes to Cyan and talking about his playstyle a little bit, I do think he's a little bit less flashy compared to some of the other Protoss players in China. When I think of the best that China has to offer, I think of Jeshi, I think of Firefly. They're both the star players, really, when it comes to the Protoss players in China. Cyan is up there, definitely, but he's a little bit less stylistic or less aggressive, much more of a standard player, macro-oriented. Mid-game focused, I should say. He's not as wild or chaotic as Firefly and Jeshi. Doesn't go for these weird Twilight Council openers, Glaive and Eps. Big 7-gate all-ins. Okay, not really what he's known for, but we'll see. We'll see what he brings to the table here, what he has prepared for Dark, as he has been aware of his opponent well ahead of time, coming into this tournament, coming into Masters Coliseum. Not just Dark, but also Lambo, so I'm sure he has something prepared here for his PvZ matchup. The other important thing to bear in mind is that Cyan is the only Protoss player in his group. He doesn't have to worry about PvP, only his other two matchups. So that is another advantage that he has. As we do see Dark slipping into the main base and the natural with his two lings. He gets a full scout off, confirms the Stargate opener. Meanwhile, across the map, an Adept does shade in, does force some lost mining time, but nothing too major, as only one drone went down. Chechi, papi. Yeah, let's go. You know what I miss Sugwa. I miss Sugwa. Where's my watermelon? Feels bad, man. As Dark is going to be moving out with his Lings, at least initially, as the Oracle moves out, the Lings move in, looking to try and delay this third base. They're going to be dancing here with the Adept for a moment, but a second Adept has arrived, and Cyan should be able to establish this third without too much issue. Meanwhile, the Oracle does get across the map. No Spore here at the third. Gets 2 workers, but that's quite a lot of hull damage already. Tries to go for some of the larva, but the eggs are morphed in just in time. We have an abundance of Lings moving out across the map. We do have an Oracle back at home, but the Adepts get surrounded. A big pickoff here for Dark. Oracles are running out of energy. And Dark, it looks like he has recognized that. He's rotating back around. He's going for that third. I don't think he's going to be able to get these Adepts, but he could take down at least the pylon. Does force that cancel. So again, really good pickups here from a Dark back at home. He's happily droning, saturating his 3 bases. And soon to be working on the rest of his tech. There it is. +1 melee has now begun at the 5-minute mark. And Dark may opt to go for a very Ling-heavy style. He's delaying his Roach Warren by quite a bit. So typically in this matchup, especially against a Stargate opener, against a fast third base, you would get your Roach Warren at around the 5-minute mark, but he hasn't gone for it yet as he goes first round and does force the overcharge. Not the most efficient trade from Dark, but he does kind of, force the activation and does make that base a little bit weaker for the second push. Meanwhile, the Oracles dive into the main. They overpower the Queen. And they take down 5 workers. Not too bad. Pretty good damage so far by Cyan. Did lose in... Oh, sorry. Never mind. I was like... for some reason, I thought that he lost an Oracle, but no, he keeps all 3 Oracles alive. So, very nice damage done here in the main base. There is that Roach one. A little bit later by Dark. A little bit later. But I'm sure he feels safe enough. And the Overlord also saw something pretty important before it died. It did see the pylon being thrown down, that Cyan is going to be getting ready here for his 4th base. Lings arrive just in time to delay it, deny it. So very nice movement out of Dark. Back at home, Cyan is transitioning into Blink and +1. But he is not going for a 3-base all-in. This is what I mentioned earlier, how compared to Firefly and Jeshi, Cyan isn't anywhere near as aggressive. He's a lot more mid-game oriented. He's slowly taking his 3rd, taking his 4th. I'm sure he wants to tech up into Archons, into Immortals. He is now moving out with these Stalkers, yes, but he's expanding behind it. He doesn't have a War Prism to reinforce. It's not as committed. There we go. Stasis traps are going to get baited out. Lings are getting ready for a surround. Queens are being brought forward. And yeah, Dark is going to collapse on this army. Oof. Big surround. Blink isn't done. Uh-oh. Blink is still 10 seconds away. We forced the recall. A big overextension for Cyan. A bit of an anti-timing, pushing in too soon. Does get punished for it. Dark's counterattack shouldn't do too much, but does confirm that a 4th is on the way. And there is charge 2-1 with these double forge. We have a Robo on the way. I imagine we're going to be getting a second Robo, Robotic Spay, Colossus, Disruptors. We're walling off. Cyan, he's just fortifying himself here on these 4 bases. Is going to be moving out once again, this time with Blink. This time he will be able to micro against the army and won't get surrounded. Thankfully. As he is pushing in. But again, Dark is ready for him. The Ravagers finish up just in time. +2 melee is in production. Roach speed still not done yet. But Dark doesn't need it for the time being. He's just being more defensive. Then counterattack is moving out across the map. Bailey Nest isn't done, so no Bailings, just Lings for now. Going to be confirming that we have a full wall off. As Cyan is testing the waters, meanwhile that Ling run by does force a reaction, doesn't find too much across the map. There is that Robotics Bay on the way for that splash damage. I believe still no Templar, still no Templar Archive, so no Archons available yet for Cyan. He's still working on mainly a Gateway army. which is a little bit vulnerable. Meanwhile, Nidus in production for Dark alongside a Hive. Very interesting. We'll see what he can get done, as he does have an Overlord going into the main for that vision. Likewise, Cyan also rallying his own War Prism into the main base of Dark. We'll see who hits first. Zealot run by on the left-hand side gets caught out by some roaches. Files are buying time. Prism is going in, but the Queens are waiting for it. Oh my god! Dark just completely shutting down Cyan at every turn. Getting eyes on the 5th. Setting up a roach counterattack. And still has that Nidus in the back pocket. Oof, Biles will connect. Cyan not having the best trade here. That does connect at least with some of these stasis traps at least. He's able to keep Dark back. Colossus are now in production. Dark is still staying on a Lingbane Roach Ravager army. And of course, he can find a lot of success with it. He's waiting for the surround. The stasis is about to run out. Yeah, he can collapse on these stalkers. He's gonna pull back for now, though. Again, he's giving a lot of respect to the Prism. But so far, Dark is a brick wall, and he won't be broken. This time, no stasis traps behind the army. Dark is gonna be able to chase this down. Zealot run by could get some damage done, but Dark, he has eyes on it, he responds, he reacts with his reinforcements. And Cyan is becoming a little bit too wasteful. Even though he's been teching up, and even though he has a 5th base, and he's working on Colossus, he doesn't have much to support his Colossus. Dark is maxed out at this point. He is maxed out on Lingbane Roach Ravager. He's getting ready for one big assault. There are 2 Colossus, soon to be 3 Colossus back at home, but there's that Nidus into the main, forcing a warp in. And we'll see if Cyan can hold the base. They roll into the mineral line. Very delayed reaction. 16 workers are going to be going down. We have Lings here at the 5th base. We have Lings and Banelings rolling into the 3rd. 30 workers go down. The Colossus are going to be able to stand strong, but what about everything else? Oh, the Robos are exposed. And Dark will snipe both Robos before getting the hell out of there. As he does pull back. Dark, he spent a lot of supply crippling the economy. He killed 35 workers, he took down the production, and now he's forcing a counterattack. He's forcing a big committed counterattack here by Cyan, and he has to. But no, he pulls back. He's not feeling too confident. And he's giving Dark the time that he needs to remax. He's rebuilding his Lingbane Roach Ravager. We've got Vipers on the way for those abductions. It feels like Cyan has missed his timing. He missed his opportunity. Now he's moving up, but at this point, Dark, he's already remaxed. He's getting ready for a surround. Barely any Banelings. The Lings, they come in from behind, and there is no escaping this army. Dark, he swallows up the Colossi, swallows up Cyan. And what is there left at this point? The Robos died earlier, which means Cyan, he cannot rebuild these Colossi. He can only make gateway units. Doesn't have a Templar Archives. Can't warp in Archons. Oh, these Zealots, though. Oh my god. The Zealots are putting in a lot of work. Cyan, he may have lost his Stalkers and his Colossi, but mate, these Zealots, they do push Dark back. They're making things close. The robotics facilities, they are done now. We can get back into Colossi. Dark needs to lick his wounds. He was able to deny that northern base earlier. He should be able to do so again. Templar Archives finally on the way for Archons and Storm. Back at home, Dark working towards Ultras. That's going to be his tech of choice here now that he has his Hive. So Lingbane Roach Ravager into Ultras. Interesting move. Oh, as Dark does have to react here, does have to react to this DT. It's only one Dark Templar, but it's actually forcing the entire army back home. So good moves here out of Cyan. At the same time, the Baneling Runbys are coming in. Oh god! They do make their way to the mineral line. 11 probes go down. Likewise, we have two very sneaky Banelings rolling into that base as well. Into that 5th. But a good reaction. Cyan doesn't lose anything. And he is building up his death ball of an army. We've rebuilt the Colossi. We don't have Archons yet. Storm is almost halfway done. We're getting there. I do worry now for Dark because he has a really solid mid-game composition, and now he's working towards Lurkers, but he needs to trade out his army. He needs to refine his army over time, and if he's unable to, then he may just lose too much. Or then he may just roll over here. And he's been able to kind of distill this to one big fight. He's got Stasis Trap set up here to retreat. Still got a lot of Lingbane. I do think that Cyan would benefit from more Archons, and that's really a big thing that he's missing with his army. We've got High Templar, sure. Zealots, they're also getting some workers. Hydras are on the way. Lurker Den is about to finish. If Dark can get into Lurkers, he should be okay. Before that, though, it's going to be close. It's going to come down to the Storms. God, there's so many Banelings. Okay, I think we have 4 Storms available. Zealot Ramai does eviscerate another mineral line. Is pulling Dark apart. Likewise, we have DTs here towards the south getting 15 drones. Dark's worker count is not really what it needs to be. There are those Archons. But now we have Lurkers. I feel like Cyan has been posturing too much. For the past, I want to say minutes, he's had Storms. So he could have pushed in. He could have gone toe-to-toe with this army. Not anymore. Now that the Lurkers have arrived, Cyan, he's going to have to transition. And there we go. Skytoss is on the horizon. Lurkers are looking a bit exposed, and one of them is going to be going down. Oh, not quite. Never mind. Big feedback on the Viper. Nidus will finish in the main. And Lings are rushing in. Oh, the Baileys, they take down the DTs. Let's go. Bailings being sent everywhere. Lings in the natural. Bailings in towards that sick base. More probes are going down. And Cyan backs off. Cyan does back off. Yet earlier, I do think he had a big opportunity to maybe take it to Dark's army. Now, no longer the case. He has to back off, and we have a longer game. These Ramais, they've been doing so much here for Cyan. Roaches are getting caught out, which is okay. Dark, he wants to throw away these roaches. They've served their purpose. Oh my god. As Dark is not stopping with these run-bys. Failings everywhere, Papi. They're rolling on in at the same time. We do see Cyan pushing out into these Lurkers. Oh, but he's going to be losing 2 entire mineral lines. He's able to pull back and save some workers, but he loses 23 probes. There are still 2 Banelings waiting for the transfer. Oh, no, never mind. as both players' economies are hurting. And we have the fleet beacon, but where are the Tempests? Where are the carriers? We need them. Uh-oh. Here we go. Big storms on the Lings. But there are still so many Lunkers. The Lurkers are going to be able to hold the front lines, which means we can go for these big counterattacks instead. Lings, even Lurkers as well, to move out across the map. Cyan forced to recall back home. And I'm still waiting for it. I'm still waiting for a second Stargate. Committing to ground toss against Lurkers, it's a bold move. We'll see if it works. I mean, the majority of the Lurkers are out of position. Big stasis traps. Oh my god. Cyan is going to be pushing in. There's only 2 Lurkers to stop him. Still only 2 Lurkers. And here we go. Everything comes back home. There it is. Mothership is on the way. Soon to be, what is that? Minus 250, minus 250? They're getting rid of the meme, Poppy. They're getting rid of it. Smooch. But for now, minus 400, minus 400. There we go. Additional Stargates are finally on the way. I feel like this could have been done sooner, but Cyan is now thinking further ahead. Oh, he does catch a lot of these Lurkers. Big spine shots are going off, but half of the Lurkers do go down. Oh my god. Storms are insane. At the same time, we have a big Link counterattack, and Cyan, he did just recall, so he's going to have to warp in defensively. But it does feel like Dark is on the back foot. He barely has any mining because he lost so many workers earlier. He barely has any crease spread as well. Does have an insane amount of Lurkers. But once the Tempest or carriers reveal themselves, once they come out, these Lurkers, they can't really do much of anything. Oh god, no! But we can't push in. We can't ape into the Lurkers, Papi. Be careful. Este Cyan. Oh my god. Massive connections, just like that. Half of the Lurkers go down in an instant. Likewise, we do have a Bailing run by, taking down 12 probes. A lot is going on. When are we making it? Cyan, he's broke. He's been losing too much. He's been losing too many workers. He can't afford anything from these Stargates. Ay, ay, ay. His economy isn't what it once was. Cyan is stuck here with what's on the ground. What's on the ground is not ideal. Oof. The disruptor goes down. Mothership has arrived. It looks like we're looking for a Nidus into the main. Oh! So we're asking for a bit of a pause. Oh, and we may have to remake here, as it looks like Cyan's zoom is a little bit stuck. So we may have to remake. And it's been a pretty intense game so far. It's been really cool to see Cyan take it here to the late game. But right now, what I will say is that what's important is the economy. Because Cyan doesn't really have his saturated bases towards the north because he's been losing so many workers. He can't afford carriers. He can't afford Tempest. Oh, but it looks like he has fixed the issue. We're good. Wait, we're good. We're coming back in.
Game resumed.
But yeah, Cyan is just stuck making these disruptors. Vipers are coming out, which are ideal against this. Couple good yoinks is all we need. Another Nidus into the main. Oh, and here we go, the Vipers. They do manage to yoink the disruptors. The Colossus as well. They go down in an instant. At the same time, there was a Zealot run by, but no, Darky has plenty to defend. And it looks like Darky has weathered the storm. He has survived, maxed out, and he's doing it. For a moment there, I was concerned for him. I was like, yo, is Cyan really going to upset Dark? Is he really going to bring him down? Is that going to happen? And it almost did. Again, a really good performance here from Cyan to be able to go toe-to-toe with Dark, but we'll see if he can survive a little bit longer. If he does, we do now have 3 carriers in production. That will change a lot. It will impact the game quite a bit if he can get there. That's a big if. We have a Swarm Host. Okay. We have a Locust doing what it can. This is done. We're going for a big Lunker counter attack. Oof. Gateways are going to be going down at the same time. Cyan rotating over towards the north, looking for another way in. Does find a free lurker. He is gaining ground. We do have those carriers in production. If we can max out on carriers, we're going to be okay, but once again, the abductions come in. Oof. 3 disruptors go down. Cyan is not going down without a fight. He's also doing whatever he can to harass across the map. Takes down another one of these bases. The Nidus is denied. Oh, who is it? No. No. I don't know who that is. I think he's Glide's co-caster. I'm not too sure. Jimmy Micro. Not long. Yeah. He's lagging out quite hard, actually. We may have to ask him to leave, as Jimmy Micro is struggling here to hold on to the Korean server. I think he's Glide's co-caster. I could be mistaken. Maybe someone in the chat may know if this is like Harstem's alt account or something. I think Harstem is casting? Question mark? Maybe. Aye. But hopefully everything is okay, and hopefully, yeah, we're able. There we go. We're able to resolve the issue and all made Jimmy. Yeah, it was Glide's co-caster. There we go. I was pretty sure that's who that was. But yeah, Jimmy and Glide. I'm sure they'll be joining us for the rest of the games as soon as they fix their latency issues. As here we go, Darky is transitioning. We do have 2 Spires in production to go into Corruptors, into Broodlords. Dark has a bank as well. He's just been trading more efficiently over the past couple of minutes as he's pushing on forward, looking to lay siege upon the northern Nexus. And the base should go down. Okay, we have some abductions on the Oracles. We have an abduction as well on the Mothership, but we don't have a lot of anti-air. Uh-oh. The carriers have arrived, and the carriers reign supreme. Cyan, he holds onto his base, only loses 9 workers. At the same time, though, I can't say the same about his third. It's gonna go down. But this is a big moment for Cyan. He has to keep on pushing. We have 10 Corruptors in production. Will they come out in time? Novas are going to be going off. The Mothership is taking a lot of hits. Up! As the Mothership does pull back. Big storms on the Hydras. The Corruptors are still in production. They're still on the way. Across the map, we can see Dark gaining ground, pushing into the natural base as well. The Corruptors have arrived. And that is going to force Cyan back. Yeah, so recall back home. Do we have detection? We do. Do have detection, but alas, Dark, because he had a bank, even though he lost a lot of ground, even though he lost a lot of his army, he remaxes, rebuilds. He has enough anti-air to go toe-to-toe with the carriers. Ugh. And this was a chance. This was a big moment here for Cyan. Looking at the units tab, he's up to 6 carriers. He's up against 11 corruptors. There's that one Storm Host, by the way. Just chilling. Living his life. Ah, it's beautiful. I think it's the skin, but it looks like the Storm Host, it's like emanating its own creep. It's like it's oozing it out. Oh my god. Disgusting. Oh, as Dark does go for a big link counterattack, but runs into the carriers, runs into the Archons. Got one Roach going ham here towards the north. Both players are backing off, both players are remaxing. Now up to soon to be 16 Corruptors for Dark. Let's go Queens, Spores, Lurkers. He has his ideal army. Cyan is still working on that. He's still building himself up. He's got some Archons, not too many. He's got some carriers, likewise, not too many either. Storms are going to be pretty big, though. Have that one Disruptor as well. Decent connection, but the Queens are here to transfuse. Big abduction. The mothership is going to survive once again. At the same time, a big link counterattack. One of the fresh mining bases of Cyan is going to go down. A base he could not afford to lose. Now he's committed. These Archons, no, they overextend. They're going to go down to the Lurkers. And now the Corruptors can dive in. They almost take down the carriers as the Ling Hydra. They're not done. They took down one base. They're going for another. We have DTs to defend, but the warp in is just too little too late. Cyan, he has to end the game with this army. Dark, he's pulling back. Dark is pulling back. Looking at the unit tab here, he's still on 16 Corruptors. As long as he's able to avoid those Archons, he can deal with this. There are only 3 Archons left. Oh! As the Corruptors dive in, they don't get the mothership. Oh my god. Oh, as they're going to take a lot of Archon shots to the face. They get on top of the carriers. 1, 2 of them go down. Oh god, it's going to be close. They get 3. GG gets called. Not enough anti-air. The carrier stands strong, and Cyan takes game number 1. Just barely. Oh my god. I have never seen a Protoss player protect his mothership like Cyan does. Did you see that? The mothership never died. Multiple times. The mothership got abducted, by the way, and focused down in multiple different fights by Hydras, by Corruptors, and Cyan never lost it. It was crazy. GG. Oh my god. He looks after his mama, Poppy. He cares. He cares about his family. GG, well played. As Cyan, causing a bit of an upset here, takes game 1 against Dark. Let's go. Let's go, Poppy. Okay, now imagine the minus 250 motherships in the hands of Cyan. That's going to be crazy. Regardless, very well done here by Cyan, taking it the distance here to Dark. Going all the way to the late game. I was worried that his Skytoss transition was too late. I was worried that his economy was too dire, was just not up to the task to really facilitate that. And it kind of wasn't. It was really close. Both players, their economies were crippled for the entire game. It took them a long time to... They were stuck at like around 66 workers for a big portion of that game. They could barely afford to max out. Dark had a very late transition into Corruptors. Very late. Because of that, he had very little upgrades for them as well. So they weren't the Corruptors we typically see in late game scenarios. They were lacking quite a bit. And yeah, really well done by Cyan, having the killer instinct to just go then and there. He had to end up with that army, and he just barely did. GG. Oh boy, and Dark is going to have to bring him back here in game 2. Cyan is a mama's boy, confirmed. I mean, Protoss players, they should take notes. they should do so. Take care of your mama ships, Poppy. Take care of them. Cyan setting a good example for all the other Protoss out there. Dark took a cyanide pill. Let's go. Cyan with the Oreo celebration. Exactly. Popping off, mate. Popping off. You love to see it. Dark taking a moment to himself as well. Don't blame him. That was a rough one. 30 minutes in that game. Whew. And here we go. Can Cyan pull it off? Can he pull off the 2-0? The 2-0? If there's a map to do it on, it's this one, mate. It is this one. We're going to be loading into Neo-Humanity. Oh, let's go. Cyan, after that win, he popped off. He had to step out. He did a bit of a lap around the house. Had to just get rid of some of that energy. Now he's ready. He's coming back in for game 2. Just sneaking in, squeezing in some cardio. You love to see it. And here we go. We have spawning in the top left-hand corner of Neo-Humanity. We have the Dark Horse. We have the Underdog. We have, to be fair, he's not a horse. He's not a dog. He is a starving camel. And a starving camel is a terrifying thing. They can even eat the dark, apparently. We have the Chinese Protoss player representing Team SSLT. It is Cyan. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player representing CranKy Gaming. Down in this series, it is Dark. Oh my god. And now, I'm worried for Dark. I'm worried for both players, actually, now that I think about it. Okay, so, we're on Neo-Humanity. Neo-Humanity, like Gressvan, is known for its late game. It's known for cutting the map in half, taking your 3rd, your 4th, your 5th without too much issue. The 6th is where things get a little bit... Oh, no, not even the 6th, because you take the center base. The 7th base is typically where the contention, where like there's a little bit more tension between the players and whether or not they can hold on to it. But these bases are relatively easy to hold on to. And once you do, you can get into Skytoss. You can get into that maxed out split map scenario. There's potential for Cyan to try to do it once again. On the flip side, though, very short rush distance. And Dark is typically a very aggressive player. If he can avoid the late game, he will. And on a map like Neo-Humanity, if you knock down these center rocks, if you take the center base, if you take control of the Rich Vesting Gas Geyser, roach timings can be very powerful and very potent on Neo-Humanity. And Dark could kill Cyan before he could really get going. So we'll see. We'll see what Dark decides to do. More than anything, I feel like my eyes are on Dark. Even though typically the Zerg player is the reactive player, I feel like the onus, the pressure is on him to really make something happen. Here we go. So far, just a gate expand from Cyan into a Stargate opener. Standard stuff. No Twilight Council shenanigans, and that is typically how things go here for Cyan. We spoke about it half an hour ago at the start of Game 1, about how when it comes to the trifecta, the triad here of the Protoss players in China, Firefly and Jeshi, they are the enforcers. They are a little bit more aggressive. Cyan, a little bit more methodical in his approach. A little bit more clinical. Does go for the mid game, for the late game instead. A little bit less in your face. But before we can get into Cyan's mid game, this is the first step. The first piece of the puzzle. The center base has been taken. The Rich Vespine Gas Geyser is now available to Dark. Oh boy. As up. It looks like we are getting a little bit of latency. Hopefully everything is okay. Quickly checking the ping here. I can tell you that at least I'm okay, and hopefully the other casters aren't causing any issues. Obviously, we had Omate Jimmy Micro and Glide lagging out earlier. So I would imagine it's them again, but we'll see. I was also noticing some stuttering in game. Godo, are you okay? Okay. Okay. I would imagine that's normal from Europe. I don't know. Okay. Hopefully everything is okay as we are getting back into this. And Cyan is going to be going for a Stargate opener into a Void Ray first. Okay, here we go. Void Ray opener is coming out. With this, we are going to be looking to... Oh, interesting. Okay. So it's a Void Ray opener into a Forge. So I'm getting some Showtime vibes out of this. Or am I getting some Skytoss vibes? So this Forge could... It could be for cannons and it could be for Skytoss, but no, we have a Robo on the way behind this. I'm getting Showtime vibes for a reason. We are delaying the Twilight Council. We're going to be delaying Charge, delaying Blink in favor of +1 and Immortal production. A very defensive style here from Cyan. Meanwhile, Dark is taking a very fast Roach Warren. This is a Roach Warren. This was at I want to say 340, 350. Very early Roach Warren here from Dark. No reason to have a Roach Warren this early on if you're up against a Stargate opener. So, very interesting choice here from Dark. Rich Vesting Gas Geyser is being taken. We have the creep being launched across the map as well from that center base. Dark is already working on those rocks. I do believe that he wants to work on that Roach push. Oof. Cyan overextends, loses an Oracle, but Immortal production has commenced. So this is why I'm a little bit concerned. Like, this is such an interesting dynamic. As Dark is showing us aggression, we can see Cyan getting to very fast Immortal production. So if there were to be a Roach push, then Cyan would be ready for it. Meanwhile, Dark, he's checking, still no third, which is odd. We have 4 more gateways on the way. This is looking like a 2-base all-in. Oh my god. Cyan. Okay, so I assumed that it would be a more defensive opener, but he still hasn't taken a third. He goes for a gateway explosion first instead of his Nexus. Now, does he plan on saturating the Nexus, or is he indeed going for an all-in? Curious. Otherwise, there would have been no reason to delay the base for this long. Really, this delayed third is working against Cyan more than anything. As we do have our second Immortal, more gateways are on the way. Cyan is not making probes. So typically, even if we have 2-base saturation, Protoss should be making workers to Maynard the third. Because we don't see any, this is looking like an all-in. We're warping in more Zealots. We're banking up Immortals, banking up Sentry Energy, and here we go, we're moving out. Prism is on the way. This third is a fake. It's not real. It's not a real third. And is Dark falling for it? Look at this. We're transferring a couple of workers. We're making it look like we're probing. We're not. We're not probing, Papi. And here we go. The army is moving out. Dark did drone up and saturate his bases up to 66. But he has Roaches waiting for him. He has Queens on the front lines. Oh, Cyan, he's not going to gain any ground here. Yeah, this push is not going to work. Ugh. We're going to be warping in another wave of units, but Dark, he's been able to saturate his 3 bases. He's on 66 workers, which is more than enough. And as long as he just makes nothing but Roaches and Lings, like, I don't know how Cyan can break him. I don't think he can. There we go. He's making probes. Cyan is backing off, and this is a rough transition for our Chinese Protoss player. He's down in workers, late third base. He invested heavily into this army, and the army isn't really accomplishing much at all. We do manage to warp into the main. We get a Queen. A Queen and a couple of drones. It's okay. Not ideal, but it's better than nothing. Meanwhile, there's a Spire finishing up here in the natural. Mutas are on the way. Looking at the vision here of Cyan. Hasn't seen the Spire. These Mutas are gonna get out of control. There's no Blink. There's no Phoenixes. We have 2 Archons for anti-air, but they're gonna have a hard time keeping up. These Mutas may just be the nail in the coffin, as Dark is just taking full advantage of the lack of tech here of Cyan. There we go. Mutas are heading towards the main. There is no answer. And when they reveal themselves, that may Cyan may just tap out. It's very possible. Here we go. Muta's going to the main. Lings are threatening the natural, and Cyan's going all in. He's going for a big counterattack. One way or another, the game will end. Zealots are overextending. They do get cleaned up, and the Lings are looking for surround on those Immortals. Now Cyan, he's going to be taking this slow. But he just doesn't have anything to support this army. We need more Zealots or Stalkers or anything else. And Dark is going to shut this down. GG gets called. Dark takes game number 2, tying up the series 1-1. GG. Oh. So a very interesting 2-base all-in from Cyan here on Near Humanity. As we saw, did kind of fall on its face. Didn't really have the power that it needed behind it. And Dark was able to... He didn't see it coming, but he did notice that the third was late. I think that's why he threw down his Roach Horn as early as he did. So he had an army, or enough of an army to deflect any kind of push. Taking the late third base very seriously, very seriously. So even though Dark didn't see the gateway explosion or the tech, he saw enough. Enough to tell him not to drone. And yeah, with that, we have a series. With that, we're getting into game number 3. I do feel like Cyan missed an opportunity to get into a longer game, into a macro game, into Skytoss. But we could still see this in map 3 on Ancient Cistern. It could happen. It is still possible. Here we go. Again, Cyan has already done the impossible. He's already done so much for himself. Taking game 1 is such an impressive feat. It's such... It's beautiful. I love it. I'm cheering for him at this point. I want him to take the series. It'd be such a massive upset, but Dark, he is upset. he's angry, Papi. After dropping game 1, nah, mate. Serious mode. Dark is now taking this seriously, and a serious Dark is a terrifying thing. Here we go. Lobby is ready. Players are ready. We're loading into game 3. The ace match of this best of 3 series. It all ends here. And here we go. Spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ancient Cistern, we have the Chinese Protoss player himself representing Team SSLT, the Starving Camels. It is Cyan. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zurich player representing CranKy Z Gaming, tying up the series 1-1 in that last game. It is Dark. Oh my, as Dark is going to be going for a 14 hatchery. You love to see it. I bring this up every now and then, but this is a different variation of a hatch first. So we have been seeing the 15 hatch rise in popularity in Europe. We saw Cyril use it quite a lot yesterday, and we've seen Lambo use it every series so far today, going for the 15 hatchery. It's a great way to get your natural base on location before the probe shows up. This, though, what Dark is doing is something that has been popular on the Korean server. Players like Solar, Ragnarok, DRG, Dark, they have been adopting the 14 hatchery, which is also another way to get your hatchery on location without being disturbed, without having to rely on, the extractor trick, essentially. Similar concept, though. Very similar concept. So yeah, with this, Dark is going to have a pretty standard base layout here. Going to be easier to defend in the early game against Oracles, against Adepts. You do love to see it. I'll be honest, I haven't seen Cyril and Raynor do the 14 hatch yet. It's possible that maybe they've tried it. But yeah, I haven't had the luxury of casting them whip it out. Only the 15 hatch. As for now, we do see Cyan pulling back, just scouting his opponents, making sure everything is on the up and up. Everything is looking as it should. Back at home, another Stargate opener out of Cyan. Standard stuff. As we mentioned earlier, Cyan, he isn't really one to mix in Twilight Councils too often, so Stargate makes plenty of sense as he is looking to delay the third base. Throws down the pylon. Little does Cyan know that Dark is already expanding elsewhere. Dark is already taking another third, and Cyan does get eyes on that. He now realizes with his Adept that another base was taken. Oh. Meanwhile, across the map, it looks like two Lings do make it into the mineral line, but so far, good control out of Cyan. He doesn't lose anything yet, except for lost mining time. Up. Up. Oh, these probes are getting very low. You can see Cyan trying to bait Dark into the center of that mineral line. Doesn't go for it, though. As the Ling is going to get cleaned up, and Dark scouts the Stargate. He confirms the first unit that's coming out that it is going to be an Oracle. Cyan just going to be poking and prodding. Does commit to the shade, actually. Oof. And isn't going to get any more drones. Oh, almost gets one. Barely gets one drone. Forces a spore as well. I don't think that was quite worth it in the end, but, you know, Cyan able to get some value here with his Adepts. As back at home, he's getting into his Twilight Council transition. Ooh, with a delayed Forge. Interesting. Okay. So once again, Cyan, he is not getting his third. Very odd choice here from Cyan. This is once again looking like a two-base all-in, a different variation. Oracle gets across the map, gets one drone, gets a larva. And it's going to get a couple more workers here at the natural. Not too bad. 4 drones in total. But what's important is that Dark, he sees that there still is no third base. And is this going to be a charge all-in? Where are we going with this? Cyan is building up towards 4 gateways, no forge, no longevity to his army, and it's going to be a very delayed glaives. Interesting. Very delayed here. We'll see how this goes for Cyan. I'm curious. I mean, the third base is already late, so that's already a tell for Dark to start, like, taking this seriously. He's working on his 4th. Getting his gases. No Roach Warren yet, so Dark is cutting corners, relying on Pure Ling. Forge is now on the way. Interesting. Okay, so it's not going to be an all-in from Cyan. As Adepts do make their way across the map. These are vanilla Adepts, and they get a couple of workers before they get cleaned up. Good target firing. Oh! As a couple more drones will go down. 7 in total. Pretty good. Now, the downside to this is that because Cyan delayed his Forge for so long, he's going to have late upgrades. Because he's going for for Glaives first, it means that Blink and Charge is going to be heavily delayed. Immortal production, Robo, all that good stuff. He is banking a lot on these Adepts to get damage done. And luckily for Cyan, there's no Roach Warren. There is no Roach Warren. Only Lings, Queens, and Banelings are here to defend. Is it going to be enough? But now the Queens are holding on. Lings are chasing that shade. And we will commit. We head into the main base. Lings are waiting for these Adepts. And so far, the drones are being kept safe. Dark, he avoids the Adepts entirely. He's rolling with the Banelings. Up! Oh my god, the splits. Very impressive, but the Lings are waiting and the Adepts will get cleaned up. And Cyan did not get the damage that I'm sure he was hoping for. As we do have an Oracle going in towards the main base, but there's a Spore and a Queen. Dark will defend. And from here, he attack. He counter-attack. Blink is not done, remember that. We do have an overcharge with the Lings. They dive on top of that shield battery. No, the probe pool is good enough to keep it alive. Dark is forced back, but here come the Banelings. Oh, the Banelings are rolling on in. Good target firing, but it's not good enough. Oof. 8 probes go down. Big connections for Dark. As the Depths are shading into the into the third. And the Lings are out of position. More drones are going down. Not too bad. In retrospect, I want to say that these Glaive Adepts have paid for themselves at this point for Cyan. Back at home, he's solidifying himself on 3 bases. +1 is done. Blink now is finally done as well. Dark is still saturating his bases. Now, he did throw down a very fast infestation pit. He's already got a hive on the way. So Dark is going to have some pretty intense Lings. He's going to have +2 soon alongside Adrenal glands. Once the hive is done. Before that occurs, Cyan is pushing out, clearing up a lot of this creep. And Dark is just trying to get his eyes on what's going on, what Cyan is up to. 4th base finally on the way. Again, Cyan's bases have been delayed this game, his 3rd and his 4th, but he's slowly getting into them. But Dark does now have map control. He's got a lot of Lings on the field. Hive has completed. He's not working towards Adrenal yet. He's not doing anything with his hive for the time being, but there we go. Adrenal's on the way. So these Lings, they're about to pop off. They are going to be terrifying. When it comes to dealing with the Stalkers, run by his counterattacks, all that good stuff. Oh, nice move. Had a very quick reaction there out of Cyan, preserving that stasis trap. Lings have been spotted in Dark. He is going for it. He does have a safety Roach Warren, and Roach Speed is on the way, don't get me wrong, but he's going Ling Bane into Ultras. The Ultra Cavern is upon us. If Dark can get away with skipping out on Roach production, he will. He'll try to go straight to those Ultras. We'll see if he can get there. Back at home, Cyan fortifying himself. More stasis traps, more gateways to create a wall. Archons as well. That is a lot of Lings. Betting run by is going to be intercepted. Dark looking for a surround. Adrenal not done yet. Does have to be careful. Oof. Massive stasis traps are going to be going off. A lot of the Lings are caught. Ah, the Archons. You can see they won it, Papi. God, the Archon volleys are going to be so juicy. Dark getting ready for a bailing run by here on the right-hand side. Can he save these Lings? He's going to come in. Overcharge is popped. 1 Archon goes down. It looks like the 2nd will fall as well, but these are still efficient trades for Dark. Bailings waddle in, but they don't get in. The wall is solid. And now Cyan's going for a massive counterattack. Dark, he just lost 81 Lings for 2 Archons. But that last Archon's going to be going down, and Pure Stalker is not good against Lings whatsoever. Adrenal Glands kicks in. Oh god. Cyan, he gets trapped, he gets surrounded. The Ultras have arrived, and he is losing everything. This is snowballing out of control. That counterattack was not it. It was not the play. Cyan, he pays the price for it, and Mass Ling is getting out of control. GG gets called. Dark will take the series 2-1. redeeming himself. GG. Oh. Oh my god, it was a close series, closer than I think any of us thought it would. Cyan popping off in game 1 with a win, but alas, game 2 and game 3, yeah, was having a bit of a harder time. And with that, GG. GG, well played. Oh, Dark does take the series in the end, but it was a hard-fought victory. A hard-fought victory here for Dark. As we are going to be getting ready for our next series. Going to be going on a short break. When we return, we will be live with a TBT between Cure and Ryung. See you soon.